George Zimmerman, who was acquitted of killing Trayvon Martin, who was unarmed at the time, 2012, a case that I covered on live television when I was at MSNBC. Now George Zimmerman has filed a $100 million lawsuit against Trayvon's parents and other people. Zimmerman is claiming that he was a victim of a conspiracy, malicious prosecution, defamation. Bringing in with us civil rights attorney Charles Coleman Jr. Charles, you've covered this case as well. As I mentioned, I reached out to attorney Benjamin Crump, who represented the family. I talked to Sabrina Fulton. She's not ready to speak right now. That's Trayvon's mom. What does George Zimmerman want now?
You know, Tamron, this is, and I think I've been on the show before, and you know that I'm going to keep it real. This is unquestionably the most arrogant and entitled display of white supremacy and white privilege that we have seen in a very, very long time.
Why do you jump to that when this could just be George Zimmerman, who has been in repeated trouble since he was acquitted, just being a bad person?
Because George Zimmerman is not acting in isolation here, so he has an attorney, and if you followed a number of his antics, there are a number of people who have supported him despite the fact that we're exhausted from hearing from him.
What has his life been like since he was acquitted?
He's been a free man. While I can't say...
Meaning his criminal life, because he's been in trouble.
Oh, no, he's absolutely been in trouble. He's been arrested for an unprovoked assault against another individual involving a firearm. He was also arrested, I don't know what the actual outcome was, for a domestic violence dispute. Also an assault. So there have been a number of different instances that have been involved.
So he's had other run-ins with authorities.
With the law and involving propensity for violence.
What are the odds that this lawsuit will go anywhere?
Not very likely.
He's alleging.
Not very likely. I think that he is hard-pressed to display to anyone how he's damaged at $100 million or anything close to that. And so ultimately, the notion of a conspiracy, particularly because he was acquitted, is really one that just flies in the face of
Right, he was acquitted, and now he is saying there was conspiracy.
Right.
But he was set free.
He's alleging that there were different witnesses that weren't used, that should have been used, and so on and so forth. But again, ultimately, at the basis of what we're talking about, we're not talking about something that has, in any real, visible, or viable way, contributed to his ultimate damage.
Ever seen anything like this where someone who was acquitted on charges then tries to go back and sue the victim's family?
You know, Tamron, I thought about this, and it is completely shocking, and in my experience, unprecedented. The only thing that I could liken this to, just so that viewers and the audience could get an idea about it, imagine if after he had been acquitted, O.J. Simpson had decided to sue the Goldmans. That level of absurdity with regard to, you have taken the life of a 17-year-old young man from this family, and now you seek to doubly victimize them by trying to sue them? This is absurd.
All right. Charles, thank you for your time.